Hey guys, my name is Courtney, and today I'm working on my Gold Award. A Gold Award is the highest award you can earn through Girl Scouting. It's the equivalent of the Eagle Scout projects Boy Scouts have. It requires a numerous amount of hours, as well as a project that not only helps some people, that not only gives you leadership hours, but helps the community as well. For my Gold Award, I'm doing puppets. I'm working with different volunteers and different facilities in order to create puppet shows and show you how to work the puppets in order to keep this dying art alive. This video is an instructional video on how to work different types of puppets, how to show emotions, and the best ways to make your puppets come to life. I hope you enjoy. Welcome back. There are 3 things to remember when working with puppets. Number 1 is your arm. 2 is your fingers and their placement. And 3 is your wrist. Now, Eva is going to help me demonstrate how it works with this particular puppet. This particular monkey cannot move its mouth. It does not open or close. So the only things it moves are its 2 arms. Therefore, when putting your hands in the puppet's head, your thumb and your pinky will go in the arms, and the rest of your fingers will hold up the head, and in this one there's a squeaker in its mouth that you can do that with. Now, because this puppet does not have a mouth that opens or closes, the important thing is to focus on the movement of your wrist and your arm as a whole object. Anytime the puppet speaks, you want to punctuate that with a movement. As you saw, it was very easy to manipulate the movement of the puppet because it took attention away from the unmoving mouth. Every time it speaks a word, like hello, it looks like it's speaking, but in reality, the mouth isn't moving. That's very important to keep in mind with these puppets. One thing to remember is to never lean on the table. You want to keep your elbow down, but your wrist up, to where it doesn't look like it's flying. If your puppet is not speaking, then it needs to be not moving. Otherwise, it takes the attention away from the other puppet that does have a speaking line. If anything, go as far as to look at the other puppet with your puppet. But remember to keep in mind the eye contact, so how your wrist is positioned in the head. Because you can move the head down and up and side to side, but make sure that because oftentimes a puppet is going to be below, the audience is going to be below the stage. Therefore, you want to kind of tilt it downward a little bit and keep the puppet's eye contact with the audience. Otherwise, it just doesn't look like the puppet's really there. Now, this puppet is the complete opposite of our lovely monkey. This one, yes, the mouth moves, but like our Muppet friends, it moves quite a bit. Therefore, there is a very limited range that you should move with the mouth. I want everybody to put their hands on the bottom of their jaw. Okay? Whenever you speak, you see how you don't chomp the words? Your mouth doesn't open for each word. It gets out 2 or 3 words before it closes again. The same thing goes for the puppets. Any puppet that has a mouth that moves. For example, every time you say maybe like the phrase, "I will not go," you only want to say the words "I" and "go." Therefore, it looks like I will not go. Therefore, it only opens and closes its mouth twice. Try that again. I will not go. There are several different phrases you can practice with this at your puppets at home. whether it's the phrase "I will not go," emphasizing the syllables I and go, or the phrase Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard," emphasizing the words old, Hubbard went, and cupboard. So, Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard. Every time you move a puppet, make sure to move the whole puppet. Otherwise, it just looks like it's sitting there jabbering at you. You want the puppet to come to life for the audience, moving its head, its body, but remember, if you don't have a speaking line, don't move it that much. It takes the attention away from the other puppet that is speaking. This puppet in particular, you cannot stick your hands in the arms. Therefore, it often takes a second person to move it, or attach a rod and move it with your other hand, like the Muppets do. In this case, we don't have that. But by moving the body back and forth, you can move the arms. Thank you. In order to summarize, don't scream. Basically, limit the amount of mouth you use, because just like us, we don't open our mouths all the way for every word we speak. We only emphasize certain syllables, like I and go, or old Hubbard went cupboard. There's only a few times in the sentence that we really truly speak the words. Also, remember to keep eye contact with the audience. Keep the puppet straight, don't slump, unless you're trying to display emotion, which we will cover later. Thanks! Hi, our next puppet is our lovely duck here. He's our rock star duck. So, with this particular puppet and others like it, you want to put your 4 fingers in the top part of his beak or mouth and your thumb in the bottom. This way, it's easiest and more lifelike to control its speaking parts. You cannot move its wings or arms in this case, but in order to substitute its lifelikeness, because of this, you want to kind of jump around when you're speaking, not like that. And make sure you, once again, don't chomp each word, but rather go with the phrase I will not go by emphasizing the I and go, or Old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard, emphasizing Old Hubbard went and cupboard. Therefore, getting several words out of the speaking line before once again closing its mouth. I'm going to say this once more because eye contact is very important when working with puppets. The audience is below the stage, and you want to look directly at the audience, not over them. With puppets like this, the mouth is very maneuverable. Therefore, it can be easy to forget that you are controlling a puppet and there is an audience watching. Therefore, even when you're not speaking, you need to be in constant awareness of how your arm is positioned and where your hand is. If you move your hand too much, it'll scrunch up the beak. And it does not look like the duck is doing very well. So you always want to try and keep it the most lifelike. In order to do that, it may be a bit uncomfortable for your hand, but with practice and constant awareness, you get used to it. So as a summary, eye contact with the audience from the puppet. Don't lean on the stage. Be aware of how your hand is positioned inside the puppet and when your lines are, as well as making sure the duck looks alive, because that's one of the very most important things. You may get tired, but just push through it, and the more you practice, the more stamina you build up in your hand and in your attention span. Alright, our next puppet is the finger puppet. Sometimes they're in a glove like this where you've got 5 on each. Sometimes it's just one single finger. It can be a bee, human, anything really. But the most important thing to remember when you're dealing with finger puppets is they're small, okay? You can't move their mouse. All you can do is wiggle your finger. So you have to do that a lot in order to make the puppet come to life. Because they are so small, it's hard for the little kids in the audience to put their whole attention on that one puppet when there are so many other things to look at on the stage. So, when dealing with finger puppets, move the finger a lot. Emphasize its movements. If it has speaking lines, make sure it kind of jumps up around while it's speaking. Now, if it's in a glove like this, make sure you spread your fingers wide. Therefore, it looks like they're all individual puppets. Because otherwise, they're just squished together. I know that may be natural for your hand, but try to keep your fingers spread. One thing that's very hard to do when working with finger puppets like this is sometimes they're not all going to have speaking parts at once or movements. Take the song 5 Little Monkeys, okay? You've got 5 monkeys jumping on the bed, but each time one falls and bumps its head, you lose a puppet. Therefore, you have to figure out a way that for you that works best to keep one down. So like then it goes to 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then one little puppet. So, because with this one, you can't speak, like you can't move its mouths, emphasize the body movements, keep eye contact with the audience, spread your fingers, bounce around, make the puppets come to life. They're small, but powerful. Hey guys, so I know I've talked about making the puppets seem alive for several times now. Right now, we're going to show you how to do this with 2 very different puppets. We've got our turtle and our monkey. So, I'm going to say an emotion, and my volunteers here are going to make their puppet feel the emotion. Let's see how it works. They're feeling surprised. Can we see that surprised again? I wasn't watching. Alright. They're sad. Now they're excited. They're dancing, they're jumping along, they're bouncing. You can just feel the excitement pouring off of these puppets. Next, frightened. See how the monkey is covering his face with his hands and just shaking. You can just feel the terror rolling off him. The turtle has taken shelter in his shell. Let's see, can we make them happy? What about confused? See, we didn't cover this. Now my volunteers are confused. Alright. What other emotions can we do? What are you feeling right now, turtle? Are you feeling scared? Yeah? See, it told me he's feeling scared. Alright, monkey, what are you feeling right now?
Like the guy who's working with me doesn't know what he's doing.
Funny. Alright, so now we've seen how to make puppets feel emotions. Because you can't always have a narrator go, oh, the turtle is sad. Yes, they may say that, but you have to make the turtle seem like they're sad. You can't have a turtle that's jumping around dancing and the narrator go, our turtle is sad. Alright? So, make sure you work on showing emotions. In order to practice this, look around you. See what your friends do when they're feeling different emotions and see if you can mimic that with the puppet.